And most recently, of course, Mikhail Gorbachev, whose grave we shall go and have a look at.
One of the most amazing convents and cemeteries you would ever have seen. So join me today as together we explore Novodevichy convent, built in 1524 and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And stay tuned as I come across some very unexpected finds.
So I'm here at Novodevichy convent. It's about 30 minutes walk from the dead center of Moscow, just 5 minutes in the car. It's a very beautiful area here. It's down by the river. You see there's a beautiful lake, and then you see there behind me the convent, and we'll go in there where there's a lot of former leaders of the Soviet Union buried there. And most recently, of course, Mikhail Gorbachev, whose grave we shall go and have a look at in a minute. There's a very beautiful, calm spot down here, and it's quite popular with tourists, especially tourists from other parts of Russia. Now, the cemetery here lies next to the convent, which dates all the way back to the 16th century. So when someone of historical significance passes away in Russia, it's often the case that they're either buried at the Kremlin or here at this cemetery. So we walk now around the perimeter of the convent, and we shall soon reach the cemetery. Very beautiful trees here. So common in Russia, you'll often see brides and grooms after getting married in public places having lots of nice photos done. I'm not absolutely sure what's going on here, if they're reenacting a scene from somewhere, but always interesting things to see. So after walking the perimeter of the convent, we're now inside the cemetery. It's a huge cemetery. There's more than 27,000 people buried here. There's now no longer space, and the only times anyone are ever buried here is if they're of significant importance in terms of history. Boris Yeltsin was one of the last people buried here before Mikhail Gorbachev very recently. So here lies Boris Yeltsin, the first president of Russia from 1991 to 1999. So you see there in Russian, Boris Yeltsin. So here lies Mikhail Gorbachev, obviously the most recent person buried here. He was the last leader of the Soviet Union from 1985 to 1991, a person of huge historical importance. He polarizes opinion. Obviously in the West, the majority of people feel that he tried to bring the Soviet Union closer to the West. There's a lot of people in Russia that feel he was responsible for a lot of damage and, of course, terrible economic times in the early 90s. So there's very different opinions. Of course, no one is necessarily right or wrong. Depends where you lived and how it affected you as to what you think his legacy was. But the one thing is, without question, is that he's a person of huge historical importance. You see the statue of the lady next to him. Gorbachev has been buried next to his beloved wife. Obviously a very nice touch. So was Mikhail Gorbachev the man that was a hero who helped end the Cold War, played a pivotal part in that? Or is he the man that broke down the Soviet Union and brought Russia into absolute economic chaos and led to the rise of what in the West they call the oligarchs, that became multi-billionaires and huge power over the country, over people that live here? Again, it's very complex. There's no one correct answer, and I understand both points of view. It's very important to remember that it affects different people, his decisions, in different ways. I think that whenever you walk around a cemetery, it always makes you very reflective. It's very somber. No life is more important than another. It's just the fact that here it's very interesting because so many people here are of historical importance to so many people. But yeah, it always makes you reflect on life, doesn't it, when you walk around a cemetery or somewhere such as this. It means something different to different people, but hopefully we can all gain something out of coming to places like this and reflect on the way that we live our life, because as we all know, we only get one chance to do that. But I must say it's very beautiful here, the way it's all laid out, and very interesting to be here, and I hope some of you guys enjoy seeing what it's like, because obviously, particularly now with the situation, not many people get to see this. As you walk around and stop and read, it's very interesting. This one stood out to me because it's in English. John Beaver Marks, born 1903 in South Africa, trade unionist, dedicated his life selflessly to the fight against racism, capitalist exploitation and colonial oppression. Probably not someone that you'd expect to see here. Nikita Khrushchev, the first secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1953, another person of significant historic interest. Arnold Vladimir Igorovich, a mathematician, all the different calculus formulas written on it. This was an actress that passed away some 11 years ago. It's really vast walking around here. It's a very big space. Some areas are quite busy, others not so much. This is unusual. You see there's a bird sitting on the headstone, and then next to it there's a bird lying dead on that headstone. Not sure what the significance of that is, why they did that, but obviously there's a reason behind it. Here lies Anton Chekhov, the playwright, widely considered one of the greatest writers of all time, actually known as a serial womanizer too. I think if you ever come to Moscow, it's definitely somewhere that is worth taking a look at, whether you're into film or music or the arts or politics. I think you can find someone of interest here, someone that you know about, someone that's influenced you in any type of way.